Hey guys, Horrorboy465, the Explorer 4 here. Welcome back to some more reviews, and today I want to do a review on Don't Breathe. Now, Don't Breathe is a film from 2016. It's a horror film from 2016. It's a 7.2 on IMDb, directed by Fede Alvarez, who is also the director of the Evil Dead remake, which is a movie that I thought was decent. And this is a horror movie I think is pretty good. I thought it was a definitely above average horror film. I would not say it's a classic though. I know that most people are probably surprised by that. I would agree with the 7.2 rating, but I would say that I really enjoyed the film, but I would say it does have a few problems. So I wouldn't say it's a classic, but I would say that Don't Breathe is definitely a great horror film. Now, I definitely think that it's, like I said, it's above average. I think it's a great horror film, but would I say that it's a classic? Me personally, I wouldn't say it's a classic. Or a flawless horror film. It's a pretty good horror film. Really enjoyed it, but for me personally, it's not a classic, but I still really enjoyed it. Now, the cast of the film, you actually got Stephen Lang from the 2010 film Avatar playing this blind man, and you got Jane Levi playing Rocky. You've also got Dylan Minnette playing Alex, and Daniel Zovatto playing Money. Now, Jane Levy was actually from the Evil Dead remake. She actually played the lead character's sister in that film. And actually, towards the end of the film, she actually became the lead. And I thought she did a pretty good job in this film. I definitely thought that the acting in this movie was very strong. The three actors, well, the main two ones did great, and the bad guy did a great job as well. But the acting was strong in this movie. I'll give the movie this. It has strong acting. It has a very good atmosphere. It's very well shot. The guy who made the Evil Dead remake, I thought that movie had some great shots in it. So in this movie, he definitely brought that back, and he had some great shots. I like the idea of the film, and I like the fact that, you know, the basically like the end of the movie, the twist and stuff like that. Which, by the way, guys, it's a spoiler review. If you haven't seen Don't Breathe yet, this will be a spoiler review. So if you don't want anything spoiled, you guys might want to leave the review. Check the movie out, then come back to the review and finish watching it. But I really enjoyed the twist at the end of the film. It was a very shocking and surprising twist. I did not see coming. But I also really enjoyed the story. It's just there's a few things that I did not care for. The fact that there's a little bit of build-up between these characters, a little bit of it, and then the rest of the movie takes place in this house. The problem with that, though, is that it takes place in a relatively small house. So I've seen a horror film from the past where a majority of the film takes place in a house. People Under the Stairs, a great Wes Craven horror film that I think is a classic. I think it's a little bit underrated. Definitely a classic horror film, People Under the Stairs. I felt like that movie, it was in the house for most of the movie, but they also had a little bit of build-up for it. This movie, in my opinion, there was a problem with the build-up of the characters. Like, you get introduced to the characters and sort of their backstories a little bit, and then boom, they're in this house, they come up with this plan to get in this house, and they're in the house for the rest of the film. The problem with that is that the house is a very small house, so there is a lot of chase scenes, there is a lot of decently suspenseful moments, not anything too great, but decently suspenseful moments. But for the fact that most of this movie takes place in one house, and like, I do understand that if it's done well, horror films that take place in one location can be done really great. This movie, I feel like it was done well, but at the same time, the fact that it takes place in this house for the most of the movie, it got kind of boring at times. The pacing got a little bit slow, and the movie is an hour and 28 minutes. This movie should not be dragging at all. But I felt at many times this movie was dragging a little bit. And it's rated R, so that's pretty good. You got some blood and guts in there as well. Not anything like overly gory, but you do have some R-rated stuff in there. And I enjoyed the idea, just the fact that most of the movie takes place in one house. Like I said, horror films have done that really well in the past. The Thing, a movie I seen recently called Pontypool, which I reviewed, that does it really great. People Under the Stairs. Even the first Saw movie took place in one room most of the time. But you still have, like, you know, scenes dealing with the outside of the room, but majority of the movie took place in that one room. So there have been movies that have done that before and have done it really well. In this movie, I don't think it was done that well because there's a lot of moments in this movie where it's slow, there's not much happening. Either they're hiding and there's not much going on, or sometimes it'll be like there'll be suspense, but then the next thing there wouldn't be any suspense. It just kind of felt like that a little bit. I just really wish they would have had a little bit of build up for the characters, a little bit more build up, and then we got into the house. And I wish the house was a little bit bigger so we could get into more details. Or if the house was the same average house, but have it to be more to do with like the atmosphere and have it to do with, you know, different things instead of just being, okay, we're hiding here for about 20 minutes, then we're going to go over here and hide here for about 20 minutes. It just got a little bit boring at times. And like I said, if they would have done it well, if they would have made it more interesting with like different stuff going on in the house, which there is a few different things that go on, but it takes a while to get to that. But the story is pretty much about these three people. They are struggling really bad. You know, the Rocky character, her parents are really bad on drugs and stuff and really abusive. They talk bad to her. And the character, I believe it was Alex, I think it's like his father's really mean to him or something. And basically they're wanting to go to California, but they need the money. So they've been robbing these people's houses to get money. And you figured they'd be unlikable characters, but you can kind of see why they're doing it because they're struggling really bad. They're trying to get some money so they can get out of there. I believe they're in Chicago, I think. Is it Chicago? Or I don't remember. I don't know. I don't remember where they're at, but I'm trying to see if it's on here. But they're struggling really bad. They basically, it's in Detroit, not Chicago. It's in Detroit. And basically, they're trying to get out of Detroit and go to California. I enjoyed the little bits of build-up, but it doesn't last long. Pretty much, you see just a little bit of the character interaction. You know, I guess the Rocky character, I guess her and her sister wants to get out of there and go to California. And as well as the other lead character wants to get out of there and go to California. And also the money character wants to get out of there and go to California as well. And the money character is sort of the guy who sets everything up and makes sure which house is, you know, safe to rob at what time and stuff like that. And one time they get ready to rob this old man who is this really strange character who is blind. And they think it's going to be an easy job because he's blind and he won't be able to see them. And one night they go into his house, they sneak in, and the old man ends up waking up. When he goes and finds out someone's robbing his house, he goes downstairs and kills the money character, basically like strangles him, and then I think he shoots him actually. And pretty much, it's either he strangles him or he shoots him, I really can't remember, but he basically kills the money character, and from there on, the Rocky character and the other character, the Alex character, they're pretty much running around the house trying to figure out how to survive, a lot of hiding. There are suspenseful moments in this film. I felt that the film had some really great suspenseful moments. I just thought that it had points where it was trying to be suspenseful and it kind of didn't work, or there was no suspense. It was just them hiding and talking for about 10 minutes, and it got really slow at those points. You know, just, okay, let's go hide over here. We'll talk about this right over here. Then we're going to go over here and talk about this a little bit over here. And then when the guy does catch them, basically most of the time he just beats them up, beats the crap out of them. You think he kills the other character, the Alex character, but he ends up not killing him. Actually stabs a dead body not knowing it. And you have this good ending, but at the same time you have an ending that, I don't know, I mean, at the very end of the film, I kind of found it to be unbelievable sort of ending, but I'll get to it. The ending was very suspenseful. This had the most suspenseful part about this movie was, well, I would say there's really good suspense scenes in the middle portion of the film, but it takes a while to sort of spread apart. But the really good suspense stuff is towards the end of the film. That's when that suspense gets cranked up, and it's so freaking intense to watch. But basically, towards the middle of the movie, not much happens. A little bit of suspense here and there. They're hiding a little bit. Find out that his daughter was killed by this other person who he's keeping trapped down in the basement. And they're trying to get her out of there. But, of course, the old man arrives, beats the crap out of the Alex character, and then beats the crap out of the Rocky character. And while he's there, he actually shoots. And as he shoots, he actually shoots the girl who was in the basement, and he starts freaking out. And I guess, like, his daughter had died, and this girl who had, I think it was a car accident or something, the girl had actually been, the girl who had actually killed his daughter, he was keeping her in the basement, and he had actually impregnated her. and he was basically saying how if she took his daughter, he was going to give his daughter back. And from there on, the suspense is cranked up because he kills that girl, so he takes the Rocky character, ties her up. He has some like artificial insemination like in a tube, so you guys know what I mean. And he's gonna pretty much take that and try to impregnate this Rocky character. And he's like basically telling her he wants his daughter back, and it's such a crazy suspenseful scene. Like I said, spoiler alert, guys. I said that earlier, so this is the spoiler zone, of course. But it's a crazy scene because you really don't want this to happen to the Rocky character, and it's a freaking crazy, intense, just so intense scene. And of course, the Outsider gets up, fights off the old man character, handcuffs him. You have this crazy scene where the Rocky character grabs like the tube with like the guy's stuff in it, sticks it in his mouth. He like chokes on it. It's a freaking crazy scene. And pretty much from there on, they go upstairs. And when I was watching that scene, this is another problem. We got some good acting, but the characters themselves they do some stupid decisions. First of all, they handcuff him to his own handcuffs. And you figured that if he had been able to lock someone in the handcuffs, he would also be able to unlock them from the handcuffs. So they handcuff him to his own handcuffs, and of course he gets out of it because he has the keys, of course. And he shoots the Alex character, kills him. Shocking scene. The Rocky character gets out of there. She's running down the street. You think she's going to get away. The old man character busts through her car, gets her out of there, drives back to the house. And she ends up fighting him back a little bit more because you think that it's all over, you think it's all lost, and you know that she's actually going to die. But she gets up, she's all beat up, she fights back against the old man character, the blind character, and as she's fighting back, she like pushes him down, he falls down onto the gun that shoots him. So that should have been the end of the movie. She should have got out of there, went away, and just would have had a trip to California or whatever. I think she gets the money, and that would have been that. But in this film, at the very end of the movie, you find that the blind character is actually still alive. And I found it to be very hard to believe because, first of all, he falls like this, lands on his gun, and it shoots him. And you would think he's dead, but he's still alive. And pretty much, she has to pretty much find out, like she's watching this news report, and I'm guessing like there's a flip around where they think that someone broke into his house and someone shot him and stuff like that. So that ending, I don't know, because pretty much after that the movie ends. I don't know about that ending. It was kind of because I found it hard to believe that he would fall like, I don't know, 20, 30 feet down, I don't know, like freaking falling really far down into the basement, landing on his gun, also landing on the freaking concrete floor, and shooting through his chest or whatever. I found it very hard for him to still be alive. But yeah, it's just like, I don't know. I mean, the ending was pretty bad, but like the very ending was pretty bad, but the ending before that was just like a little bit before the actual ending was really suspenseful, very, very suspenseful, nail biting, on the edge of your seat suspense. You also have a little bit of that throughout the movie, him chasing them, and the inclusion that he's blind because they have to make sure they don't make any noise. And they'll sneak past him, but they had to make sure they're very quiet about that. But overall, the movie's a pretty good film. I would definitely recommend it, but I would say it's as good. Honestly, I don't know. I would probably pick it up on Blu-ray if it's a cheap buy. I would probably pick it up on Blu-ray. It's a great, well, not great, but it's a pretty good horror film, but it has a few problems. The characters make some dumb decisions sometimes. There's sometimes no suspense, or there's little going on. There's a little bit of build-up, but not too much build-up. And really, besides that, I mean, the music was pretty good. The suspense that was there was great. The atmosphere was really well done. It was very well shot. The characters are very likable, only sometimes they make some dumb decisions. I like the idea of them going into this house. Very basic, simple idea. Them going to this house. This guy's blind, but he ends up being their worst enemy. He gets up and he starts killing them. And I really enjoy that idea. It's a simple idea, but it's very, very effective. And I enjoy it. I think it's a good horror film, but I wouldn't say it's a classic. I would just say it's a pretty good horror film. But anyways, guys, thanks for watching my review for Don't Breathe. Like I said, It has a few problems, but I would definitely recommend it to you horror fans out there. And anyways, guys, thanks for watching my review on Don't Breathe, and I'll see you guys on the next review. Bye, guys.